Hey guys, this video is about modification I did to my Series 1 Harbor Freight 5-drawer cart. Everybody who has one of these, who's been back to Harbor Freight, has seen their new Series 2 cart that has a vertical lid. This one originally had one like this, which was angled at about 75 degrees. And as you can see, I have it set up now so that it's pretty much vertical. It's actually just a little bit past vertical, maybe 92 degrees. The way I did that was by changing out these gas struts. I looked at a lot of different struts online on Amazon and eBay, and really what you need is additional length to go from the original hole, which was here, a little black thing, to here, the original position on the lid bracket. The original strut is 13.5 inches in length, extended, and about 8.5 compressed. Ideally, one would have a strut with similar force that was simply about 1.5 inches longer, so that it would then stand up straight without having to drill any holes. But I couldn't find anything which would fit that bill. In fact, I really didn't even know how much force was on the struts. So I settled upon these particular struts made by SUSPA here in the US. And these are 15.7 inches long with a compressed length of 9.4 inches. So they're a little bit too long for this lid to be perfectly vertical. It would actually lean back some. So knowing that, I knew that I'd probably have to drill another hole here where nobody's going to see it. And the other thing I knew I could do is put little straps here, brackets, extensions really, to alter the distance from this pivot point to the hinge. In any case, I didn't have any clue how strong they should be, and the new Series 2 struts are 120 newtons each, which works out to around 25 pounds, and these are 28 pounds each. The initial experiments I did, well, I took the old struts off, bolted this here to the original point on the lid, and while holding this lid vertically, I basically saw that there was an arc along which this could be mounted, and I just chose this point, which is about 1 1/8 inches from the original hole here. And it stood pretty much vertical, at maybe 87 degrees, 88 degrees, not quite vertical, but certainly better than the 75 degrees of the original cart. As you all know, if you have a Series 1 cart, 75 degrees puts this thing kind of in your personal space. And it makes all your stickers look funny, and it's harder to put stickers on. So it's nice to have it vertical, out of my face. Really the way I chose these struts was, first of all, it couldn't be real expensive. Some of these struts are quite dear. They're maybe $30 or $40 each. So to get a pair for $18 like these, I thought was quite reasonable. So these are a little long at 15.7. And when I initially put them in and drilled this hole, it looked great. But when you pulled on it, the force was surprisingly high. I think it came out to more than 15 pounds, if you figure it based on the distance from the handle to the hinge and from this point to the hinge. And the fact that you have two of these, that's 56 pounds of force here, and reduced by roughly a quarter. And so that force was maybe tolerable, but what wasn't tolerable is that you would close it and then it would want to spring right back up. Or if it did stay, you would just breathe on it and do this, and it would fly open, and it kind of got scary. So I said, all right, we've got to reduce the force. And I made these straps, really, of scrap metal, and I experimented with different distances. You can see here there's 2 holes. This is 1 inch from the original point here. This is 1.5 inches, and I also tried something which was about halfway between the original one and the hinge, around 2 3/4 inches. And for 2 3/4 inches, I had to drill another hole here, which I was trying to avoid doing a lot of that, but nobody can see it, and I put these little nice caps from Lowe's to fill them up. Now, just to go over my experimentation, half the distance made it quite light to pull this down. I figured about 7 pounds. The downside is the force is so low that by the time when you're closing it, you're 9 inches away from it being closed altogether, and then it just would want to slam shut. And being metal on metal, it was not pleasant. I put these little foam pads here which are stuck on to help deal with that. So I then tried these other 2, and this one reduces the force by about 20%, from 15 to 12, and it was still a little firm. I then tried this one, which is 1.5 inches from the original hole, and the closing force is roughly 10 pounds, and that's okay. And the balance point, where it basically just sits there, is right around 3.5 to 4 inches. And you can just push it, and then it'll close the rest of the way without slamming. Now, when you open it, it's still pretty substantially, a substantial force, and it'll fly up. But it's not nearly as bad as when it was up here. Now, there are other struts that I saw online which are more expensive, $33 or even more, with lower forces. The lower force ones of this length are more expensive. There's a 15-inch one of similar strength. There's one that's exactly this length that's 10 pounds each. Now, at 20 pounds, that's a little light. I'm not sure how that would work, and those of you who want to experiment, you're welcome to. I'll include a screenshot showing what I'm talking about. I think that's about it. So you can buy a set of these for around $18. You will have to make a little strap to lower this pivot point, and you'll have to drill 1 hole on each side. I think that's pretty good to get this so that it's vertical like the Series 2. There's another mod that some might want. There's these quick release attachments you can screw onto a strut so that when you flip a lever, this will pop right off, so that you can lower your lid all the way down and have a completely open area for your workspace. They're only about $11.50, and I'll put a little picture side by side here. Other than that, there's really nothing else that you guys probably haven't already done yourselves. I looked online to see if anybody had posted a video about a vertical lid mod for the Series 1 cart, and I couldn't find anything. And that's why I'm doing this. Of course, I have a lot of holes here, but like I said, nobody's going to see them. All right. If you guys have any questions or comments, please put them down below. And I hope that this has been helpful for you. Those of you who've been wondering, is it possible to do a vertical lid modification on your Series 1 5-drawer Harbor Freight tool cart. And there you go. Very good. Yeah, I'll have a Happy New Year and a healthy one. Bye.